honestly, it was one bar. We've talked about it loads on the podcast before. We're very much in the camp of the Open and the Masters being the best major tournaments. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Third place is the US Open for me, without question. This year's US Open was far better than last year's Open.
Correct.
I've said it.
Well, you have, and that's fine. I think for me, though, now I'm going to have a new mindset. There's 4 major championships, obviously, you've alluded to that. And beforehand, I get very excited for the Masters and the Open. Again, you kind of alluded to that. But actually, each event can have relatively flatter, potentially, years. And obviously, you can have other events that have an amazing year. I think going forward, I'm going to actually just look forward to them. I'm going to try all equally and then see what happens. Because this week, I was somewhat excited for it. Yeah, US Open. I watched the back 9 last night of obviously the final round, and it was the most intense golf I think I've ever seen, and the most invested I was for a long, long time. That's
my only gripe with this tournament, right? I actually found it hard to watch.
Hard?
Yeah, and it's wow. I understand that, because in one breath I am saying it was exciting, it was fantastic, it was amazing, it really was. But I found it hard to watch.
In a sense of the missed putts.
My heart was like pounding for the majority of the back 9. Like it wasn't a comfortable 9 holes playing Augusta, the final round of the Masters. Like there, you normally get someone bursting through the field, shooting 3 or 4 under on the back 9 and going on to win. US Open is known for being very, very difficult. Pinehurst number 2 is known for being incredibly difficult, certainly after all the changes a few years ago. It was just an unnervy watch. I could never really be comfortable. I was constantly on the edge of my seat. I was constantly like glued to it, but also like wanting it to end. However, in that breath, I also was desperate for it to be a playoff.
Really?
I really, because you had there Rory McIlroy, let's be honest, the spokesperson, the main guy for the PGA Tour. He is number 1. And obviously you got Scott Scheffler, but as a spokesman, as someone who is so outspoken for the PGA Tour, he has really put his flag on the mast of PGA Tour. Mm-hmm. On the other side, you have Bryson DeChambeau. Not that long ago, one of the most hated golfers on the planet. Mm-hmm. I think that would be fair to say.
Yeah.
How he's turned people's perception around to becoming one of the most loved golfers out on the US Open this weekend. And obviously, as a live player, it's like you had the two of them just going at it, and it was electrifying, but so uncomfortable to watch, because you're not seeing birdies and eagles, you're seeing who can not make a bogey and who can get up and down after missing the green. I think the other thing is it's so unnerving for me, because I know playing in that situation, they're hitting these shots, these horrible little chips and just dreadful shots, and I'm looking at them going, I don't know how they're going to play this shot under this much pressure, but they obviously did. It was the putting, mainly with obviously Rory McIlroy, that let him down on the 16th when he missed that short one, on the 18th when he missed that short one. It was like devastating.
I think before we come on to Rory, we have to talk about Bryson and obviously congratulate him. I think he's doing a lot of things very well at the minute. He seems to have really turned that public perception round of people that weren't liking him with obviously signing for Live. His YouTube channel is absolutely flying. He seems to have loads and loads of support over there.
His YouTube channel is flying.
It is.
He's one of the most, I think he is the most watched YouTube golfer right now.
And how lucky are we, think about it, that there's a professional golfer, a professional sports person, should I say, who's at the top of their game, who's just won what was, a huge event, one of the major championships, who is putting himself out there on YouTube. It is crazy, and we are lucky in golf that people are doing that.
I love the headline that someone posted, YouTuber wins US Open.
Exactly, and I think as well his passion for YouTube, he seems to be the kind of guy, obviously with his long drive and his YouTube now, and whatever it might be, he gets behind things. When he's in. And the way he celebrated, I mean, that shot, obviously on 18, that bunker shot was absolutely insane. And then to hold the putt, obviously, I know it was a long putt, but with that pressure as well was incredible. And although Rory missed that very short putt on 18, it felt like with Bryson hitting that amazing bunker shot that he won it, as opposed to Rory losing it to a degree.
To a degree.
However, I do think we need to come on to that in a moment. But an amazing event, and I think for Bryson now, it's there's questions being asked of, does that obviously really even more to solidify Liv, that they've got another major in kind of their arsenal? I went on Liv's social media this morning and they were massively shouting about Bryson winning, as you'd expect. Is it a hit for the PGA Tour? I mean, one thing I did see as well, the US Open themselves, they were massively actually collaborating with Liv on social posts, so they were kind of embracing them. But it was a great event, and it's got me really excited for the Open. The only downside, though, I would say, is it feels like the majors are so cramped together that come the middle of July, that's it, and it's like you're waiting to the Masters again.
April to July.
Yeah,
it's really close together.
It is,
and I mean, like I say, the way he won, he absolutely dominated it. His Saturday round of golf was nothing short of extraordinary, albeit had a double bogey on the 17th from memory. 16th on the Saturday. He didn't have his A game on Sunday. He ended up shooting, was it 1 over his final round? He was hitting driver everywhere on that final round because apparently about 15 minutes before his tee time, he actually had to swap driver heads.
Well, I saw the clip, yeah.
I think the story of that, and he spoke quite in depth to me about it when I was over in America with him at the end of last year. He's very much all talk about bulge and roll on his driver. And basically, if a driver has been hit so hard so many times, that bulge and roll starts to flatten out for him.
Okay.
And he doesn't like it when his driver faces get too flat. So you saw him on just before he teed off. He had that kind of tool where he puts it on the driver face and it shows you bulge and roll of the face. And he must have been checking it and he mustn't have been comfortable. There is also rumours that it cracked, but I'm not sure if that's the case. I think it flattened out too much for him. So we had to swap drivers just 15 minutes before the tee time. And he couldn't hit that driver straight at all, could he? It was either blocking right, and when he did overdrew it. He got mega lucky on 16.
When it went down that really tight angle.
Jeez. I mean, that was like right on the edge. He got very, 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 very fortunate in a lot of his lies in the rough. Mm-hmm. I know if that was me, I would have been in every bloody bush and under every plant. I wouldn't have been able to play the shots that he played out of those situations. I actually thought Rory, again, I know we're going to probably dive into Rory a bit more. I thought his front nine was quite dreadful, really. His iron play, he couldn't hit a green, but he was getting up and down from everywhere. And then to actually, in his round of golf, get to 4 under par at one point for his round, I was like, how has he done that? And then to lose it on those last 4 holes, he had 3 bogeys in the last 4 holes, which was honestly just heartbreaking. Like I said, I feel like I'm switching between Bryson and Rory a bit too much here, but like Bryson definitely won it without question. Obviously, he had the lowest score. His golf game was extraordinary. His short game is outstanding. His putting is just different level. He really embraced the audience. He won over many, many, many fans, not only on site, but also around the world watching on TV. The fact that as he's walking around with the trophy, the US Open trophy, he wanted every fan that was there present to touch it. And I think he stood up to that word. He walked around through the crowds. He was there for 3 hours after he won it, still signing autographs, still signing, making sure all the kids. And one of the things he said in the podcast when I had him on in December was, I asked him, why are you doing YouTube? And his big answer was that he wanted to motivate and encourage the next generation of golfers. He was doing that. He was doing that. There was kids that were watching him, screaming his name, telling him they subscribe to his YouTube channel, getting autographs, getting selfies. Like that, for me, as any tour pros I've possibly even ever seen. I mean, Mickelson had that kind of vibe to him when he was at his most popular. He was just embracing the audience so much, and I think it's really important for golf. I
think what a great winner. And before we mentioned about how I feel like he won it rather than Rory lost it, and kind of a weird one to say, because I feel like if on that last hole Bryson made a very normal conservative par and he hit the green in 2 and then 2 putts, it would have very much felt like Rory lost it with his tiny putt that he missed on the last hole. I think the fact that Bryson hit that such an amazing shot out the bunker and then hole the putt, I think that made me feel like he won it